You're on.
Hello, welcome everybody. It's nice to see you all here. And also welcome to all those who are watching on Facebook. My name is Susan Couvreur. I am on the board of directors here at the Historical Society of Frankfurt and head of collections. And I'm going to share with you a book that I've just put together. It's not quite ready for purchase, but it's coming very soon. And it's about, as you can see, this early photographers of the Frankfurt area. When I came here, I think around 2008, I was given the task of dealing with the photograph collection, and there's perhaps 10,000 images in our collection. But I did some inventorying and rehousing, and over time I found that there were many names on these photographs, and I started making lists and wondering who these photographers were. So I have, over years, looked into who they are with a lot of help here from some of the volunteers have helped me figure out some background information about these photographers. So I'm going to share with you some of what's in the book. There's a lot more in the book than what you're going to see tonight. This is the cover. I chose this kind of diagram for a design for the cover because a lot of these images we have are in the late 1800s, some even mid 1800s. So I want to thank my daughter Vanessa for designing this cover. So I'm going to show you some of the photographers and talk about them. This is on the cover as well. This, I don't know if you can see, there's a guy up in a tree and he's got a tripod up there and his camera. His name is Elvin Rogers. He was born in 1863 and he was a member of the camera club. Frankfurt had a camera club that was around for perhaps 50 years. So he was not a professional photographer, but he did leave us with some images. And this is and most of them are around the Pennypack Creek area. So I'm assuming he's on a tree overlooking the Pennypack Creek. He took this picture as well. This is, I think, anybody who's been up on Crewstown Road or up in that neighborhood where the Pennypack goes under this bridge. This bridge still is there and it's still used. You don't see steam trains on it, but trains go over it every day. This house was Crystal Springs. It's also up in near Pennypack Park. It was at the location where Roland and Ron Street intersect. I don't know any more about this house, but perhaps there was a Springs there. I think many of you have seen this image before. This is Robert Cornelius. He was the first person in America to make a daguerreotype of himself. And he had a business for a while that was photography, but it didn't last very long. The family were into making lamps and chandeliers and metal plating. And so I can see a connection there. You went to make a daguerreotype, metal plating would be a good skill to help you accomplish that. So he was a photographer for a short time, but in his later years, he moved to Frankfurt and he had a big mansion in what is now Wissinoming Park. And he had ponds on the grounds and his grandchildren came there and he had big family gatherings. In the book, there's a long biography that was written by one of his grandsons. This is a picture of Lawndale. That was his mansion, which is where Wissinoming Park was, just below Cumley Street. And There was a pond. I think you can see there's some people sitting around a pond and all these trees. There's still some little bits of forested area in the park. This man is Thomas Hutchinson. He was born in 1802 in England, and he learned directly from Daguerre in France the process. One of the nice things that France did for the world was they shared this technology freely with the world. And so Mr. Hutchinson moved here, and he had a business in town and also in Frankfurt. This is an ambrotype, which is a technology that came after daguerreotype, and this is a picture of James Pattison, and it's dated 1851. Here's an ad we found in one of our newspapers. This ad, I forget the date on it, but it was in the mid-1850, about 1850 as well. So it talks about, you know, what to expect when you get your daguerreotype. He also taught one of our other local professional photographers, John Schofield. This is John Schofield. He was born in 1835 in Germantown, and he moved here at the age of 9. He opened his photo studio in the Oddfellows Hall. This is what building had housed the Oddfellows. Is it with 4352 Frankford Avenue? That address may have changed because there was a change in numbers on Frankfurt Avenue around the 1880s. They changed by about 100. So he eventually got his own studio on Frankfurt Avenue. This is his daughter, Mary. Mary Schofield helped him in his business, and her handwriting is quite evident on a lot of the photographs. We have hundreds of his photographs here. And he developed all kinds of processes over the course of time. He was in business over 50 years. And so photography became more and more advanced during the time, and he kept up with all these advancements and learned all these different processes. Here's a stereo card of Cedar Hill Cemetery, which is just up here at Frankfurt and Bridge Street. I don't know if you're familiar with a stereo viewer, but it's there's handheld devices that you put the card in, and you look through what like binoculars, and it gives you a 3D effect. It's kind of like a ViewMaster. This is Frankfurt Avenue back in the day. His location was 4442. I have a little arrow pointing to his sign, which is not very easy to read, but he was there for all of his career. And I think there's a trolley, but yeah, I don't know the date on this.
Where would 442 be on Frankfurt Avenue?
Well, like I said, these numbers changed, and I can't remember which direction they went, but it was down near Unity, I'm going to say.
Yeah.
This is a photo he took of Lucan's mansion. It's also called Port Royal. It was over in the area of Church and Tacony Street. It could be seen from the train tracks. And the story goes that DuPont, as he rode up and down on the train to New York, noticed this building and it was in disrepair and it was about to be torn down. And he took an interest in it, and he purchased some of the elements from this building, and it's now part of Winterthur Museum, one of the buildings at Winterthur. This is Frogmore Mills. Powder Mill Lane is kind of over near where Wissahickon Yeah, was it Wissanoming that goes near your house, Richard? Wingahawking, that's it, Wingahawking Street. I get these names mixed up. When that crosses the creek down there, which is now Wingahawking or Cayuga Street, it was in that general neighborhood. We had many mills here in Frankfurt along the creek and otherwise. The next photographer, another professional, is named George Henninger. And here's an image of his studio. The studio is on the right, and the building on the left is called the Dummy Depot. And that's where dummy cars, which were a precursor of trolleys, would be the terminal. I don't know who those men are sitting out front. Across the street from his studio was the Seven Stars Hotel, and they had 2 floors. And I'm fairly certain that he must have taken this image from that second floor because of the angle of this photo. I have a picture of this. Also looks like it was taken from the Seven Stars, but this is the building of the L. This is in about 1917. This is at Arrett Street, the Dummy Depot. You can see this is where Oxford Avenue comes into Frankfurt Avenue, and the street behind the Dummy Depot is Arrett. And you can see they're digging for the foundations for the supports. There was a trolley crash here around this time, apparently. And you can see in the background, there's that building is the Seven Stars Hotel. This is another photo by Henninger. It's Joseph Beeson. He was a Civil War veteran, and he claimed to be the last of the Frankfurt volunteers, and he attended many events and celebrations and carried around this banner, which we have down or a similar banner down in the museum here. This is another professional photographer, Howard George, and his brother, J. Roland George. Howard George took a lot of photographs, and he and his brother owned a sporting goods store, and that was in the 4300 block of Frankfurt Avenue. He was born in 1869, so I think that address would be accurate. They sold all kinds of sporting goods, as well as Kodak cameras and Edison phonographs, and you can still see the name Howard George above the door on that building today. Here it is lit up at night. This is a celebration, I'm sure, that they just discovered lights. Maybe it was for that, when was the arch? They did early 1912. This could have been because there were lots of regalia and lights and celebration going on. And this is another image of by Howard George. This is the backside of that Dummy Depot. So you're looking up Arrett Street to the west.
What is the Dummy Depot?
The dummy. Sometimes a dummy car was a car that was a precursor of. It ran on tracks, and it had steam power. And it did not have a trolley, so it was something between horse-drawn transportation and the electrified trolleys. It didn't.
Where you board several buses along Arrett Street between Bristol and Frankfurt.
This is that same area where yes. Yeah, we had a question about where this is located. So if you were looking down this today, you would see that staircase that goes up to Arrett Street entrance, the transportation center, where a number of buses stop to load. This man is William Gibson, William S. Gibson. He was born in 1873, and he owned a sporting goods store as well, and again sold Kodaks and many other sporting goods. But his claim to fame was that he sold a lot of sports equipment, and he sold equipment to the Yellow Jackets football team. And he was also their team photographer, and his images appear in a lot of the programs. And we have a number of his negatives here from the years of 1926 and 27. He took photographs at the games. There was a stadium that had been built for the Yellow Jackets, and it was on Frankford Avenue near Devereux. And in some of those photos, you can see the stadium and the neighborhood. He took a lot of pictures of people in the stands, and he didn't have telephoto technology at that time, so the team play shots are a little bit hard to make out what's going on. Here's a photograph of his business on Frankford Avenue. It was at 4239 Frankford Avenue, which is, I don't know exactly where that would be, but it would be below Church Street, I'm thinking. Here's an ad from one of the programs that were given out at the Yellow Jackets games, and we have a number of years of those programs, and his photos appear in them with the players and the shots of the game and the people in the stands. Here's an image of two players. I don't know their names, but the Yellow Jackets uniform is the one with the F on it, and the Dayton team was the black and white, or maybe it was color. It's black and white photo, so I don't know what color their jerseys were. Speaking of the Yellow Jackets, there's going to be a book just about them coming out shortly, so keep an eye out for that. You can look at Scheib Vintage Sports for that. That's where you'll find that book if you have interest in it. Here's a typical shot of a team player. His name is Rudy Comstock. These two men were William and Charles Sliker, and they lived in Bridesburg. William was born in 1873 and Charles in 1892. Anybody that lives in the area has probably seen postcards with the Sliker name on the back. They were very prolific with their photographs of things going on in the area, events, landmarks. They took a lot of images, and they also would take in, people were starting to take their own photographs. They would go around and collect people's film and cameras and get them developed and take them back. This is a photo of their studio in Bridesburg. Was it Pratt and Mercer Street? I believe they went out of business in the, do you remember?
I think in the 60s.
In the 60s, okay, 1960. This is a building that's was the residence of Pratt, Mr. Pratt, hence the street that's in the area. This building stands still. It's at the corner of where Tacony meets Aramingo. It's now painted white with red shutters and red trim, but you can see that this building is still the same structure that you see in this image. Here's one of his published pieces of local imagery. This is the train bridge, the PRR bridge that crosses just south of the Betsy Ross Bridge. And here's an interesting little photo of some houses on the waterfront of the Delaware River in Bridesburg. It says boat houses at riverfront. Besides professional photographers, there was, like I mentioned, the Camera Club, which was founded in 1889. They rented space in the area, and they had their processing rooms, and they had exhibition hall, and they had awards and gave out prizes to some of the members. They were a charter member of the Photographic Society of America, and they rented space in this building, which was called Wright's Institute, Wright's Industrial and Beneficial Institute. It was at the corner of Unity and Griscom Streets, where the Quickie Mart is at this time. At the time it was built, it was the highest structure in Frankfurt, and it housed lots of other things beneficial to the community. There was a library there before there was the Free Library of Philadelphia. The YMCA met there. They took in people during the war, injured. They had many things that they were doing to help the community at Wright's Institute. And the photograph club, the Camera Club, rented 2 floors in this building to have all their rooms to work. There was a man named George Taylor who was their first president. He took this photograph. This was a glass slide. This is of Roland Mill. It's titled A Relic of the Past. I believe this mill was on the Pennypack Creek. I think they were all aware of the fact that a lot of the things that were on the creek were about to be taken away, and the park, the area was going to be turned into what's now Pennypack Park. This is William H. Sperry. He was another president of the Camera Club. He was a policeman by profession, and he was president for quite a few years. He worked at Diston Saw. Oh, no, I'm sorry. George Taylor was a policeman. I got that mixed up. William Sperry worked at Diston Saw. That's up in Tacony. Here's an image he took of Erdrich's Brewery. Apparently there was a brewery over there near Bridesburg. It was on Bridge Street. I think, where is Walker? I don't know where Walker is. So sort of between Frankfurt and where Bridesburg starts. Here's an image he took of the Palmyra Ferry. Before there was a Tacony-Palmyra Bridge, people used the ferry to get to the other side. And the terminal was right near where the base of the bridge is now. Here's another member of the Camera Club. Her name is Mary Shallcross. She's the woman that has the hat on. I don't know a lot about her. This is one of her images that she made of, it looks like a posed image of a horse, and the man who was out to take her, I guess he was out, one of these people maybe pulling one of these cars out in the streets. This was taken by Charles Starkey Smith, and he worked at Baldwin Locomotive. And this is titled The Old and the New Meet. This is when Frankfurt High School was being built. The building on the right had belonged to the Wister family when that land that was Frankfurt High School was a farm. And after the Wisters left that area, the property became used by the Frankfurt Country Club, and this was their clubhouse. And after that, It was the first Frankfurt High School. And now, you know, if you know the area, you recognize that building. That's Frankfurt High School. This was taken by J. Rowland George, who was the brother of the man who had that sporting goods store on Frankfurt Avenue. This was a toll gate on Oxford Pike, which is now Oxford Avenue, right near where the circle, where it meets Castor Avenue at the circle. So if you were going up Oxford Pike, you had to pay a toll. We have a number of photographs by this man. His name was Dr. George Shively. He was born in 1829. He studied at Jefferson Medical College. He liked to travel a lot, I think. There were pictures all over the Delaware Valley and beyond. This is called On the Brandywine. Looks just like that today, but without the cows and horses. This was a ship called the St. Paul. It ran aground in 1896 near Long Branch, New Jersey. So he went and took an image of that. Another member of the Camera Club is John Justice. He was born in 1847. And I don't know what the Lobster Club was, but they're the members. This is Thomas Crichton. He was also a member of the Camera Club. And I believe he was, I think he had an official duty there as well. He was a lifelong resident in Frankfurt. He was born in 1856, and he was a painter by profession. And he was very active here at the Historical Society and left many records and photographs and information with a lot of interest in our history. This in the snow. This is the hospital ground. So they have the building in front was the first hospital, and the new one behind it.
Is this Frankfurt Hospital?
Frankfurt Hospital, yeah. So I believe this was from Griscom Street. I haven't looked into exactly this location. But this building is gone. The one in the foreground is gone. This image, another Frankfurt Camera Club member, was by William Lord. He was born in 1882 in England. He immigrated here in 1902, and he was a saw maker. Perhaps at Diston also, I don't know for sure. He won an award for this image. This is a picture of Margaret Elstop. And it doesn't look like that today. This is another image he did of called Crossing the Bridge. I'm not sure where this is either. This is Lincoln Cartledge. He was born in 1869. He graduated U of Pennsylvania. He donated 250 of his images to us. They are mostly taken up in the Pennypack area. This is his portrait. And here's his image that's been reproduced a few times. This is the bridge that crosses the Pennypack, this Frankfurt Avenue. This bridge was built in the late 1600s for William Penn to be using it to get to his estate up at Pensbury Manor. This bridge has been in continuous use since then, and it's been restored. So it's the oldest bridge in America to be in continuous use. And it's an iconic image. And so that's my presentation. This is a picture by Benjamin Haldeman, and I just find it amusing, and it's called Inquisitive, and he was also a member of the Camera Club. So I end with that, and I will take any questions. Well, I like the one in the guy in the tree. Yes.
Do you know why all the sporting goods stores were selling cameras? Is that just a coincidence, or?
I don't have an answer to that question. The question is why would sporting goods store be selling cameras? Do you know?
I don't think that sports as we know it was, sporting life would include that type of new art. We don't have they didn't have the type of sport we have now.
Yeah, that's a good question, and a good place to find out the answer to that would be at the Eastman Museum out in Rochester. I bet they have an answer to that because they were the ones that supplied these Kodaks to these all over the country, and would develop the film. They made their money developing film. Not on the cameras as much, but perhaps it was another way of, getting it profit.
It was very competitive.
They probably took in your film and sent it off to be processed in bulk. That would make sense to me, but I don't know this for sure. That would take a little bit of research.
More than one sporting goods store next to each other.
Yeah.
We have a question from Cliff, one of our online viewers, asking when the last photography shop in Frankfurt closed.
The last photography shop that I recall was Jack's Camera, and it was still here in the 80s, but I don't have a date on that. This study that I did basically focuses on what we have here in our archives, and those date from mid-1800s to about 1940 is when they start to trail off. We do have some more recent acquisitions, but the bulk of our collection is between those dates. So I don't have much information on current photography, but now we've all transitioned to digital. Yes.
Do you remember when we did that dummy car program? Do you remember if that was one of the ones we did online?
Harry's?
Yeah.
The question is about the program on transportation. Yes, I'm sure that was recorded.
Okay, so that would be apropos to the one question that came up about dummy cars.
Yes.
We've done a specific program which can be found.
Right. It was sometime last year, I believe. At the beginning of the year, it was to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the opening of the L. Any more questions? Okay. The Order of the Odd Fellows, I don't know a lot about them, but they were a benevolent group that helped people. We have some of their minutes upstairs, and it looks like they helped people who were maybe ill. If there were members, they would go around and check on them and help them out with expenses. I think they did charitable work. They helped with orphans and situations like that.
It's a branch of the Masons.
It's a branch of the Masons. Oh, I didn't know that. Thank you. So, no more questions. We'll have something to eat. You want to speak?
Yes, please.
Okay.
The Oddfellows incidentally ran a cemetery here in Frankfurt. It's called Greenwood Cemetery, and it's still there, and you can still see the graves in many cases. W.C. Fields' parents are buried there. Fields was not the original family name. It was shortened. I've forgotten the name of the full name. Somebody know? But they are in fact buried in that cemetery. We are going to have 2 months off now in January and February, and we'll be reconvening in March. And one of my board colleagues, Gail McCormick, is going to be doing a program with an associate, Paul Marcasano, and that is going to be on an organ manufacturer hereabouts named John Roberts, and the organ that he built for the Swedenborgian Church here in Frankfurt. So we're looking forward to that. We scheduled Santa Claus for tonight. It may be that he's
here.
suffering.
I just saw him.
Yeah, I thought he might be here. We were a little worried about.
See if we can get him to show up.
Yeah. We were a little worried about Santa Claus. He had an incident recently in Nevada when he was attending an event like he's doing here, or like he does usually here. Santa Claus. Welcome, Santa. Oh. Come on up. Come on up. Come on up for a second. We've been worried about you since that incident in Nevada. We had no idea.
What happened in Nevada?
You don't remember? Oh my goodness. The doctors did predict that there could be some short-term memory loss.
I got it.
Yeah, well, we're glad you're up and around at least, and you feel all right.
Yeah.
That's good. Who could figure that many naughty and nice little children could be assembled in such a huge crowd of adoring followers who would overcome you so easily? I mean, you're a healthy fella.
What are you
So
talking about?
we're glad you survived the incident, and welcome back to the society.
Thank you. I don't know what incident you're talking about. My son was living in Las Vegas. He didn't mention nothing. So everybody, thank you for coming tonight, and we have refreshments. And if you could maybe buy some books for Christmas, make an offering for this basket. I got one here myself. Okay. I told my wife, she said, "What do you want that check for?" I said, "Well, I'm giving away an empty basket. I got to put something in it." Thanks for all coming, everybody.